What's going on YouTube? Cloverbells here, back with another Series 12 team building video, and today we're looking at what I call the devilish, the demon combo, Palkia and Calyrex Ice. This combo, all of a sudden, out of left field, has been on the rise right now in Series 12, and it's already top cut the Brisbane Regionals twice. And it actually got second, and you're starting to see it. Not only did you also see it in the IC, but you also saw it a little bit on ladder, and it was also used in one of my other videos, but thankfully we used our Lunala squad to beat it. But why is these two starting to rise, and why are they so good together? So if we consider their weaknesses and their strengths, then you'll start to see why and why they're so good. So when we look at Calyrex Ice Rider, right? For example, it's on our screen. What are the two biggest weaknesses? One, Zacian, okay, a steel type, and two, Incineroar, a fire type and something that intimidates it. Well, what if we had a restricted that can actually counter both of them a little bit or resist both of their attacks? Palkia is that mon. So Palkia resists Behemoth Blade, which is also why Zacians in this series were forced to run that fairy stab move called Play Rough. Because of Palkia, that's right, Zacians had to run that third attack move because, back in, the non-Dynamax format where Palkia wasn't such a big threat, you didn't see Play Rough. You just saw Substitute or some other third move besides Protect. But now, because you have Palkia rising in the format yet again, even more valid to run Play Rough. And Incineroar doesn't bother Palkia because one, you're a special attacker, and two, you just get blasted by a Max Geyser. So very, very nice there. And then for Palkia itself, you're really, really good into Kyogre, right? Because you quad resist the water spouts and the origin pulses, and you're neutral to the ice move, which you can easily pivot into Calyrex if you want. Both of these together, they're very, very, very strong against the Sun teams, right? Because think about it, you can change the weather either into Geyser or Hailstorm. So you remove Charizard's weather, you can hit Charizard for Max Geyser or Groudon for Max Geyser, and you can also destroy Charizard with Max Hailstorm, even though it's neutral, but because you're going to proc it with a weakness policy, the Charizard just dies to it. Same with the Groudon, and those teams are running Gastrodon, right? So maybe Palkia's effectiveness is reduced just a little bit, but again, neutral Glacial Lance just destroys that thing. So you have to be aware of how good that these two are. So now the question is also, what else can they give me? Well, they give you speed control because one, Palkia and Calyrex, they both get Trick Room, right? So you always have, you can start with a beginning game in Trick Room, and then you can also finish the late game in Trick Room. So really, really nice. And now what you want to do is, okay, how can I support these two? All right, I got Palkia, I got Calyrex. Well, they love a redirector, so that way they can set up their Trick Room a lot easier, and that's Amoongus, right? So Amoongus, Palkia is always a very proven duo. Set up Rage Powder, click Trick Room, really, really nice. And then now what you can do is you don't have to run Telepathy anymore. There's no Landorus here, so you can run Pressure. And then when you Dynamax Palkia, you can also go for this move called Pollen Puff. Now you can heal your Palkia, okay? And then the same with Calyrex. You redirect it, and then you set up your Trick Room, and then if Calyrex takes damage, you can just heal it up with Pollen Puff. So Amoongus is a best friend for Calyrex and Palkia. Next, you need some Intimidate support. So even though Palkia does okay against Zacian, still doesn't want to take the Play Rough. And of course, Calyrex wants nothing to do with Zacian outside of Trick Room. So we need something else for that. And this is the other compadre in the quad core of the team. So this is Incineroar. So this is the core usually on these Palkia Calyrex teams. They always have the Amoongus and the Incineroar, and then you have your two fillers, right? So Incin, you can always lead Palkia, Incin, you can set up Fake Out, then click Trick Room, then Parting Shot into Calyrex, and now you have both of them on the field. So really, really nice combo there. And then Incineroar is just mainly just to neuter those Zacians to give you fake out pressure to, keep setting up your trick rooms or deny an attack from Zacian or deny attack from something else. And you know what Incineroar does. I don't have to explain this to you at this point in my videos. But now where do you go from here? So these teams, they also run the big nuker, what we call Regieleki. And usually, most of them, not all of them, on these teams, they are Life Orb. So they just absolutely just say, you know what, screw everything, I'm Dynamaxing this thing, I'm clicking max zap zap, and I'm just gonna nuke everything in the beginning, and then when the Dynamax is done, I'm just gonna finish the game with these two behemoths in the back. And yeah, that's generally what you want to do. And also when you set up Trick Room, these things are weak to Amoongus themselves, right? So if you can set up your electric terrain that way, then these two are fairly safe from the threat that is called the opposing Amoongus. So Dynamax, Life Orb, Regieleki is going to come here. And then the way you round out the rest of the team, so there's always like another kind of Trick Room setter or another kind of redirector. So the most popular one at the moment is the Porygon. So you can run the Porygon a couple of ways. You can make it a little bit more offensive, where you can actually Dynamax the Porygon, and then go for something like Shadow Ball, which becomes Max Phantasm and get those defense drops, and then this thing starts hitting like a truck with Glacial Lance. Or you can just make it a little bit more bulkier, and then just run some annoying stuff like with Eerie Impulse, for example. So, and then this is also good into stuff like Yveltal, Kyogre, Dialga, opposing Palkias, things that don't want to. These two that don't want to take special attacks. Like Palkia, I would say Yveltal would be the biggest issue, even though you have a Calyrex, but you got to set up the Trick Room first. So having Aleki and Porygon really helps in that kind of regard. So yeah, in addition to Porygon, you can also see another redirector like the Indeedee. So this way you can lead Indeedee, Calyrex, deny, Grimmsnarl shenanigans stuff, Thunder Wave, or just any of those prankster shenanigans that they want to click on you. You can deny that with Indeedee, and then just set up your Trick Room, and then you have Helping Hand plays, which I really like, with Palkia and Calyrex. So you could go this route if you want. All right, or you can do something like this with Dusclops, another kind of redirector, where you still get the same kind of Trick Room setup, and then now you get the addition of Will-O-Wisp, and you can also proc your weakness policy with the Dusclops with Shadow Sneak, and you also have something against the opposing Calyrex Shadow in Trick Room because you have priority Shadow Sneak. And then get it down to Sash, and then you just kill it next turn with either anything that you have really. And then the other thing you can do is, of course, Instant Mimikyu. Instant Mimikyu with Calyrex in the back, that's always a very common kind of core. Again, same idea, just another Trick Room setter. So notice how the core of this team, right? You have Palkia, Calyrex, Amoongus, Incin. Most of them run Aleki, not all of them. And then you have like another Trick Room setter. So technically there's like 3 Trick Room setters on one team with an Amoongus. It's kind of silly. And it's annoying to play against, but you gotta know how to deal with it. But part of beating your enemy is knowing how the enemy works. So what we're gonna do is reconstruct at least 1 or 2 versions of this team, just to see how they work in terms of movesets, items, and EVs, and then we'll test out one of them in some showdown battles. But let's look at the Dusclops one. I like that one the most at the moment, just because Helping Hand. All right, so let's just go ahead and reveal the GIFs. We have the Palkia and Calyrex, so of course we're gonna have the Dusclops, the Incin, the Amoongus, and the Aleki. So now let's just go ahead and do the EVs, items, and movesets. Alright, so let's start off with Palkia here. So we did mention, of course, yeah, we're going to go Trick Room. So just 2 of its stab moves, Spatial Rend, Hydro Pump, and then, of course, Earth Power. Max Quake is really good against Zacian. Helping Hand Max Quake into Zacian is really nice. So I think that's very needed. And then, just getting special defense boosts against other special attackers like an opposing Dialga, Life Orb Yveltal running around, or Dynamax Aleki, for that matter. These special defense boosts come in the clutch. So definitely much appreciated here. And I think we are going to go with the Lustrous Orb. So even though our Earth Power doesn't quite get the boost, unlike when a Palkia normally has a Life Orb, still we get nice damage into Spatial Rend and Hydro Pump. Alright, Calyrex, of course, weakness policy without a doubt. We click the funny button, Glacial Lance, high horsepower also, good against Zacian. And then we just have Protect here. So let me just put this up with Trick Room. I always like protecting my last slot. I don't know if you guys noticed that. When I make my teams, I like protecting the last slot. Not the first slot, the last slot. Alright, Amoongus Focus Sash is ideal, you know, just so that we can take one big attack and set up our Trick Room, our Redirection move, Rage Powder, Pollen Puff, our healing move, and then Spore, of course, the move that everyone doesn't like to play against, and then of course just Protect. You know, Protect is busted. Instant standard set, you know, safety goggles here, you know, just against an opposing Amoongus that wants to spore these two things, or against, you know, some of the few Venusaurs that are running around still at the moment. But again, Flare Blitz, Fake Out, Pressure, Parting Shot, your pivot move, and Throat Chop, right? You know, teams like these, they always like two pivoters at least. You know, you have your Incineroar as your two pivoters, and then you got your two big sweepers, and then you got some two supporters like Incinen and Dusclops. So that's generally like, you know, typical, like one of those team building formulas that you like to do. You know, pivoters, Dynamaxers, supporters, you know, that kind of thing. We did Incin, right? Yeah, we did. Okay, Regieleki. So Life Orb, like we said, our speed control move, Electro Web, of course. And then let's go Hyper Beam, you know, just so that if we ever go against a Landorus, we have something to hit it with. But also Max Strike. So this way, at least maybe we can make Palkia faster. This is like the fast mode of the team. It's not really a fast mode. It's just like a big nuker at the end of the day. And then Thunderbolt. Actually, no, it's Rising Voltage, I want to say. Yeah, that's what I meant. And then Protect. And then from here, Dusclops. Again, Eviolite. You know, just to be bulky, of course. Shadow Sneak, activate our weakness policy on the Calyrex. Then we have the goated Helping Hand move, Will-O-Wisp, and of course Trick Room. Now, the other thing you can consider, you know, Dusclops is like, you know, Grimmsnarl, Whimsicott. It falls into that category where you want like 12 moves on this thing, and Taunt is another thing that you might want to consider, because this way you can stop an opposing Amoongus' Spore. So maybe you can remove like one of these things, like remove Will-O-Wisp, and then put Taunt on it, and then, you know, still keep Helping Hand. I haven't run into that scenario yet, but, you know, I'm pretty sure it can come up. Or you can keep Will-O-Wisp and then, you know, just remove Helping Hand. But, you know, I really like Helping Hand. So I'll leave it up to you. If you want the Taunt, just because you think an opposing Amoongus is the threat, yeah, definitely go for it. I think it's huge. Otherwise, you can keep the Will-O-Wisp for now and then just change it later, however you seem fit. So we got the 6, we got the we got the items, and we got the moves. So now how are we going to do the EVs? So let's start with Palkia here. So we're running in Trick Room. We don't need to be like super fast. You know, Palkia is one of those base 100 mons, right? So we want like almost no speed in this, but we do want to at least be modest nature, just so that we can deal as much damage output as possible. And we'll go to the third EV bump here. So see where the first one is. I believe it's at 198. Yep. So you see how at 76 EVs, you have that 198 special attacking stat. Again, if you don't know what EV bumps are, you got to comment in the video below and ask what are EV bumps, because you want to play competitive Pokemon, you got to know what these EV bumps are. I always stress it in every single video. It's every 80 EVs in the natured stat that your stat goes up by 2 points instead of 1. So here you see how right now I undercut my EV bump. I'm at 196 special attack. Look at the bump here. Boom, 198. I skipped 197. What happened? Houdini magic? No. That's just how Pokemon is. You have 3 separate bumps in the natured stat where the attacking stat goes up by 2 points. So after 80 EVs, this is 156 investment. All right, let's see where that bump is. Boom. You see how you go from 207 to 209? You skip 208. All right, Houdini magic, right? All right, and then we'll just go to 236 because that's the other 80 EVs. Now from here, we just want a little bit of HP, actually a lot of HP. I like to go 191 just in case, you know, just optimize my HP just for the hail chip damage. You can max it if you want, but I'm just gonna go 191 here because I want a little bit of speed and a little bit of bulk elsewhere. So then from here, 20 speed is okay, you know, just to outspeed other Palkias, you know, outside of Trick Room, because a lot of them are just going like, you know, 120 or no speed, or just, you know, 20 speed. I just like 20 speed. I think just to outspeed an opposing Palkia in this kind of archetype is really, really nice. So then from here, 12 points in special defense just to have an even number. So this way, I get the best bang for my buck when I get max Quake boost. This way, I don't get a decimal value, because if it's at 141, this is an odd number. Then if you go for the max Quake, then you get a number, you know, with 0.5 at the end of decimal. You don't want that, because then Pokemon rounds it down. You want a nice even number, so this way you get a whole number after the max Quake boost. All right, then the rest just put in defense, and then that's it. All right, so that's our Palkia spread. Calyrex, I'll use more or less the same kind of Calyrex spread in terms of EVs that I've been using for a while. So let's just go Brave here, just to be as slow as possible. 0 speed, 49 in total. Again, max HP. All right, but we want 108 special defense. So this is specifically for to survive Calyrex Shadow, Life Orb, Astro Barrage. You know, they're not as much Life Orb Calyrex Shadows anymore. They're more towards Focus Sash, but hey, I'll enjoy the extra HP at the end of the day if they decide to click that button. All right, and then from here, just put the rest in attack. You know, that's really all you want out of your Calyrex. Amoongus, you know, I always like a bulky, relaxed natured Amoongus, just so that I can better take an Incineroar Flare Blitz or a Zacian Behemoth Blade, you know, just a little bit better. So we'll just go there. Of course, we're going to be 0 speed, all right, with our relaxed natured, and then we're just going to go into the bump here, which is about 156, right? There it is. You see how you go from 119 to 121? All right, and then I always go to 236 HP just because I want this 219 value. All right, not 252 where I get 221, because remember, Regenerator divided by 3. All right, you don't want a decimal here. You want a nice, solid whole number. So this way, when you switch your Amoongus out, all right, you get a whole number recovery, not some decimal like 0.3333 where it rounds it down. All right, then you're just wasting HP EVs. All right, so then from here, special defense 116. That's all you have left. So bulky shroom, same shroom that we've always been using. Incin, again, just make it slow, make it bulky. I'll go second bump special defense here. Just a little bit of speed, just to try and outspeed some other Incineroars. I think this is enough. And then from here, 1 point in attack, and then the remaining go into defense. So the main thing with this Incineroar, you live the Zacian close combat when you drop it to -1. Not as common anymore, close combat, but you know, still, you know, I'll enjoy the extra health that I have left after Sacred Sword Intimidate support. Okay, Regieleki. So this one, excuse me, Modest Nature, 236. Again, that's our bump. This is the third bump, and then from here, we just want to optimize our Life Orb chip, you know, just about 20, 28. Now the thing is, the common Eleki on these type of builds is to do something like this. This will live like, you know, Grassy Glide shenanigans. They do something like this, where, yeah, there it is. There's the Life Orb optimization with 159 HP, and then they have like 124 speed, right? This is just, you know, in general, but we're gonna do one thing here. We're just gonna outspeed them by 1 point, you know, just because we did our homework, we did our research. All right, we're gonna outspeed those other Elekis that are trying to do the same thing, the modest ones. All right, timid ones we don't care about. Okay, so that's our Eleki here. Dusclops, again, same idea like the Amoongus. We just want to make it bulky. So of course we're just gonna go max HP. Sassy nature, just to, you know, those Yveltals. Now you want to be careful, because if they are Life Orb, they're gonna kill you anyway. But at the very least, you still have the special defense bulk for the Calyrex Shadow Rider. So we'll show how we match up against Yveltal calcs when I show a couple of sample damage calcs. But yeah, this is the team. Okay, so let's just make this paste real quick. All right. So yeah, well, this is our Dusclops team. So again, you know, some common leads. You know, Palkia, Amoongus, set up Trick Room, Incin, Calyrex in the back, or you can even go like Regieleki, Calyrex, that kind of thing. You can do like Dusclops, Calyrex, you know, turn 1 Protect, set up Trick Room, turn 2 Shadow Sneak, Glacial Lance, and then wrap the game up with, you know, Palkia in the back with either Regieleki or Incin. So, you know, fairly standard kind of play style. You know, the Regieleki can come in handy if you just want to Dynamax it and nuke stuff right off the field and then just clean up with Calyrex and Palkia. But, you know, pretty solid, pretty clean for what we wanted to do. But yeah, let's just go ahead and show off some damage calcs, and then we'll test it in a couple of battles. Alright, so I do want to show the Calyrex calc, at least against Zacian first. So if this is a Jolly Zacian, yeah, you just die, of course. Especially if you just Dynamax, yeah, you just die. But if you swap in your Incin and Intimidate it, you will live the Behemoth Blade. And of course, a +2 high horsepower just absolutely annihilates it. Alright, I could even Dynamax it for you. You kill 2 Zacians if it's a Jolly one. So really nice there. Now let's look at the Calyrex one, which was the main reason for the special defense investment. So yeah, so you see that right there, 84 to 99. So we have enough special defense investment where we survive the Calyrex Astral Barrage. So that's all we did. It's a very simple spread. Alright, so now let's just look at a few others. Okay, so this is Incineroar. Again, if you just intimidate the Zacian, you know, -1, you just survive everything. So close combat, again, doesn't kill. You reduce its defenses, you go for the Flare Blitz, you kill the Zacian, you go down in the process. But hey, I take it restricted, you take my Incin. Fair deal, I say. So always nice. Now, what you can also take into consideration is Dialga. So if we do like a that was my old Dialga spreads. If you do like 252 Dialga Earth Power, right, Dynamax, you do die. I do want to say that. So you do have to be careful if this Dialga does want to max Quake your Incineroar. Now, if you had screens, but we don't have screens, yeah, of course you're gonna live that just fine. But I just want you to be aware of that. Same with the Palkia. Don't think you can just take this. But if you manage to get a shot off on this Dialga, by the way, if you make this -1, now you can live the max Quake. So, you know, it all depends on the situation. It's like, all right, without any stat reduction, I die. But if I can get a parting shot off in Trick Room, I'm okay. All right, next time I repivot in. So just want you to be aware of that. So now let's just take a look at some Palkia stuff. Okay, so now let me just show you the Palkia calc. So again, with Palkia against Zacian -1 Intimidate. Again, you're going to want to be careful because that is still a 75% KO. There's no screens, there's no Grimmsnarl on this team, so be aware of that. But this is also why Amoongus is the best friend of Palkia, because you just redirect it and then play rough does nothing to Amoongus, and even without Intimidate. So definitely want to be aware of that. But again, if you are in Trick Room and if you Dynamax, that Zacian is as good as dead. Alright, I just want to say that right now. But the other thing that you can also account for is the Dialga calc. So if I go to Dialga, and if I just go to 252, special attack modest, if I put, let's say like Draco. Now for Draco, you can live, right? 6.2% chance to KO. So that's also nice, right? You can live a Wyrmwind from Draco Meteor. But if it's the other one, Roar of Time, I think it's not as favorable of a roll. Yeah, see, this one is about 43% chance to KO. So, you know, still in your favor, but not as in your favor as the Draco Meteor. But a lot of them are, for this reason, run Roar of Time because of Palkia. Okay, so at the very least, you know, you still have some good bulk. You have your Dynamax, you got your Amoongus, you got your Incin, you got all the support you have with Palkia. But, you know, just be aware of these things. You know, oh, there's a Dialga, okay, there's Zacian play rough, okay, hold on, I need my Amoongus. Alright, Amoongus is the key to ensuring Palkia's success. Alright, I just wanted to show some of those basic calcs, some things to consider when you're doing these EVs. But now let's just go ahead and test it in a few battles. Okay, so now it's actually mirror. It's actually Zacian Palkia, and the thing here is, okay, he's got a cool squad. He's got the 2 double dragons, but there's a Machamp here. All right, and I'm not sure why he has the Machamp here, but you know, this is still a pretty favorable matchup as long as we get the Trick Room up. So very simply, I'm just gonna go with the Calyrex lead here with Dusclops, Calyrex, and then Palkia in the back. Now, this is the you know, the Burn Orb thing where he has like no guard, no guts, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Okay, the idea is he could swap in his Incin right now and intimidate the Calyrex, right? That's something that I wholeheartedly expect. And then he could either protect the Palkia or go for Trick Room and then reverse my Trick Room. So he has that option. So I'm just going to protect my Calyrex, see what he does. Okay. He doesn't swap in the Incin after all. He just goes straight for the Calyrex with the cross chop. I'm not sure why they did that. So he flips my Trick Room. But again, you know, all I can do now is I can just swap into Incin and then click Trick Room again. And let's see if he does that again. So we're playing the mind games here. So I'm going into Incin here. I'm intimidating the Machamp. He Dynamaxes the Palkia, which is perfect for me because that means he's not flipping any Trick Room. Alright, and now I get my Trick Room up. Alright, we take the high horsepower. And now we can get our own Calyrex back in. So we're in a decent spot here. We can just Shadow Sneak and then, you know, just go for Glacial Lance. Deal some big damage into Palkia, like about 50-60%. Kill the Machamp. Now... Palkia can't really kill us here from this range, even with that geyser. It might do big damage, but we should still be able to live. I could also Quake if I want. Like, I could have Quaked right there. Alright, but I'm going for the Shadow Sneak. I get the proc, and I deal some damage into the Incin, but yeah, it still lives. But now I can just Dynamax, and then I just go for Helping Hand, which is basically still +2. I wasn't sure if +2 Hailstorm would kill the Palkia from this range, but I just went for the Incin anyway, just so that, you know, I can pressure that slot because that geyser isn't really doing anything. And then from here, you know, again, there's the Machamp. I expect the Palkia Protect. So I just go for some attack on the Palkia, but I just remove the Machamp with the Hailstorm. And now we're almost timing. One more turn of Trick Room. There's the Zacian. That probably protects. So there it is. And then now we just try and Wisp it in case it doesn't burn, and we just kill the Palkia from here. So yeah, Calyrex pretty much dominated this game, and he has one more turn left, but you know, it's basically 3-on-1. He tries to guess here. I would at least try to go for the Dusclops. Maybe he might even kill that if he's lucky. But he went for the Calyrex. So you know, I got Trick Room back up, and then we just beat him there. So let's look at one more battle. Okay, this is Solgaleo. Solgaleo Kyogre, and there's an Orangu, so he's going for, you know, the Instruct Water Spout spam. But I do have to respect at least the Tonogre lead, so I think I have to bring Regieleki in this game just to pressure him a little bit. I'm not even sure if I needed to bring Regieleki at the end of the day. I felt like if I just brought in like Palkia or even Calyrex in the lead, I think it would have been fine. Just get Trick Room up. But again, he could bring the Orangu, and I wanted to blast it if he let it, but he didn't lead it, so he let Tornado Solgaleo. So, you know, this is protect and click Tailwind, or he just double protects because of Fake Out. I'll tell you one thing I did wrong that I would fix later on. So I would Fake Out the Torn, but I attacked the Torn. I think. What I want to do here is just Max Lightning the Solgaleo instead. Get some chip damage, because I'll show you what happens later on. So he Dynamaxes Solgaleo, right? I'm just going to... I know I live this, right? Because he has to do one of two things. So I live that. I go for the Lightning here. And then I go for the Flare Blitz. Now, look how much health he still has. I think if I attacked during his Protect, I think that's enough damage to knock him out. So now I'm in this situation where, okay, my Regieleki is going to die next turn, but he can only kill one of me, because the Tornadoes can't really kill the Regieleki from this range. Now he can double attack it, but then that means he's leaving the Incin up. So at the very least, I can force him to pick one. He goes into Rillaboom here, which means he's going for the Incin, and that's fine because I'll take the Solgaleo with me. All right, so there's that. So I kill that. And I reset the terrain on the Rillaboom. So that's really, really good for me, the fact that I can do that. So here's the Incin. Here's my Palkia. I'm just going to protect the Regieleki this turn. just to stall out one turn of Fake Out or Grassy Glide, which is exactly what he goes for. And then from here, I'm just going to deal some damage into Instant. That's actually really good damage into Instant, and I actually lived the Life Orb chip, which is always nice. He goes for a Snarl, but that's not important because all that's important is setting up the Trick Room. And now we have the Demon that Calyrex is. And now guess what button we click? Glacial Lance. That doesn't matter. That just helps me. Alright, there's the Glacial Lance. You know, Calyrex is now +2. We have all these turns of Trick Room. All he has is a Rillaboom. So he didn't even bring Kyogre. He goes for Fake Out. That doesn't matter. I just chip him one more turn with Spatial Rend. And now he loses with the Astro Barrage. So fairly easy game. The Regieleki actually did a lot of work in this game, just because I went to my outs. All right, so there's that. And now let's take a look at the paste one more time, just so that we do some final thoughts. So yeah, there it is. I mean, you know, I really like Dusclops here with Will-O-Wisp and Helping Hand shenanigans. You could easily like put in, you know, Porygon just to have a little bit better of a Calyrex Shadow Rider matchup, you know, just because Calyrex and Dusclops are a little bit weak to Calyrex Shadow Rider, but it's fine. You have an Incin, and you're not killing the Dusclops unless you max, but even then, we're bulky, and we have enough tools where, you know, we can just Shadow Sneak it, and then just, you know, click, or even max it, the Calyrex, and then until the horses come home. I would do that play every week. But yeah, Amoongus is really good. We only played 2 practice games, but again, you have the Amoongus Palkia combination, you have the Amoongus Calyrex Ice Rider combination, you have Instant Dusclops with, you know, one of the big sweepers in the back, maybe plus a Regieleki, or maybe even both Palkia and Calyrex. So you have a lot of different leads, you have a lot of different end game scenarios that you can play around with. But again, if you like the Porygon version, let me know in the comments, and I'll give you the Porygon version. But I like Dusclops at the moment, all right, because I love Helping Hand, and I think it's really, really nice, which is why maybe even Indeedee could even fit on this team. But, you know, I went with Dusclops just for that extra Trick Room setter. So let me know what you think of Palkia Calyrex Ice Rider. Let me know if you want to see this as a rental code for maybe the month of April. But we'll see how that goes. But until next time, guys, we'll be back with another Series 12 video. Peace out. Have a good one.